People, this is the uh, video segment that I'm making in the playlist called Transition to 3D Experience from Catia V5. And in it, I want to explain the concept of a product table for an assembly. Now, product table, to the best of my knowledge, was not available for in Catia V5. However, it's something useful. In principle, it is similar to the concept of design table for an assembly. However, there are certain things that can be done here more efficiently that would like to bring it to your attention. I'll do it in the context of this example, which is basically a modified version of this video from PLM Technologies a few years back. I have an assembly made of three parts. There is the ground, there is a block, and the size of the block is so that this length is equal to that length. In other words, the base of this block is a square, and there's a cylinder. Okay. Now, the parameters, or let me put it this way, the dimensions that derive or drive this model are the radius of the block, length of the block, and radius of the cylinder, uh, given by these names. The actual location of these things is not important, but I will go ahead and explain to you what the plan is. All right, so we're going to go to what is this? To 3D Experience, and I start with assembly design because this is an assembly. And I'm going to insert in it the ground. Okay, now you can do that, right click, insert a 3D part, or you can go to the product modification tab and click on insert new 3D part in it. I'm going to call this thing the ground properties. So the reference, which is part name, basically is ground. The dimensions of it are not important, but I'll make it 10 by 5. Okay, just so that I have a better control over what I'm going to do here for you. Okay, ground. All right, good, good. So notice that this becomes shorter. Now we're going to make it. Double click on this, and on this on the XY plane, I will sketch. I'll make it this centered. Doesn't have to be, but I'll make it centered. Rectangle dimensions. I'll give this thing 10 and this one 5, so that I just have a better idea of what these sizes are. That's all. They're irrelevant to the problem. Exit, add it. Okay, good. All right, and then I'm going to go and insert a new part in there, right there. I'm going to change this thing to block. So properties reference, which means the part name basically is the block, and the instance is also block. All right, let's go make it. Double click on this. On a convenient plane, for example, on the same XY plane, I will sketch. I'll sketch. A centered rectangle, and I dimension these, dimension this, and dimension that. And a circle in the middle, and dimension it. There we are. Exit and pad it. Okay. Later on, I'm going to take this thing and put it on top of that, all the way to the top. Again, insert the 3D part and call it CYL. Right click properties, CYL and CYL. Okay, and we're going to make that just a circle basically. On the XY plane, I will sketch the circle and dimension. Exit and path. Incidentally, in here, I wanted to say this bottom dimension on this side equal to the dimension of that side. So I might as well go to that same part, which was the block. I'm in part design, and let's go to. We are in part design right now, and we are in the block. So let's click on the tools, click on f of x, move this thing on the side, select this. I want to say that dimension add a formula equal to this dimension. Notice that I double clicked on it so it puts it there and apply. And notice that now they are the same dimension. Now, let's assemble this thing all the way to the top, all the way to the top. So we go to assembly, and here is the manipulate. Okay, so I'm going to move this thing up and move it to, let's see now, to the right. Let's see now, moved it up to the in the x direction. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of on that surface. That's again irrelevant, completely irrelevant. At least position-wise, it's there. Later on, I'm going to bring this thing down and make basic so that it contacts that for visual purposes. Once again, I move this thing up. Okay, where are we? And translate in the x direction. I believe this is x. Yeah. Okay. And then say okay. And just so that this thing comes down and sits on the face for visual purposes, I go click on the uh, engineering connections. Okay, good. Okay, so let's see now. Let's see the different ways of doing this thing. Here's how I'm going to do that. I say contact between this face and that face. Okay, and then again contact between this face and that face. Once again, these are irrelevant for the sake of what I want to show you in the for product table, but I just want to make it look like that. Okay. All right. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to, by the way, notice that that equation that I made, that relation that I made, is appearing in the block. You can see that under the block, under the block. Here it is. Oh, no, not that. I'm sorry. Where is the part design? Hang in there. Oh, uh, relations. Okay, right there. It's right here. That the fact that I made one dimension equal to the other one is appearing in that block as part of the structure of the geometry. Okay, good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create uh, three parameters, three parameters in here. Now, I'm at the top level assembly design, and I did bring this up when I created the first four videos that if you're in assembly design and you want to create parameter, you're going to get an error message, okay? So let's see what happens. So you click on the tools, you click on f of x, and then suppose you want to create your first parameter. You see that? New parameter. You get this. It says, hey, if you want to do something like that, you should be doing it in the knowledge engineering specification. We say, okay, cancel that. And what I did, I went to that application right here, engineering rules capture. It says you need to go there. So I am in engineering rules capture. You click on the rules capture, and then you click on the f of x, the box with f of x. Please watch videos. I think it's video 1 or video 2. Uh, okay, you click on it actually for assemblies. Yeah, that's fine. Either video 1 or video 2. Click on this. It says, okay, you're trying to create a specification. Yes, notice that it did it for me here, right here. And I'm in there. Now when I go to tools and I click on f of x and I click on the new parameter of type, I don't get that message anymore, okay? Now this name, I would like to call it R dash, well, let's say L dash block, L dash block, okay? And I'll put some value here. Say for example, what is that? Oil block maybe 1. Another one, another parameter. I'll call this thing R dash block, and I'm going to make this thing 0.25. 0.25. This is the radius of that hole basically. Another one. I'm going to call this thing R dash CYL, radius of the cylinder, and I can make that thing, I don't know, maybe 1, maybe 0.5, doesn't matter. So what I've done, I've created 3 parameters right here. You can see that. And they are right there. See that? Right there. Parameters have been created. Now, we say, okay, good. So we now go to the product table. This was design table. This is product table. You click on it. You're about to create an Excel spreadsheet. Click yes if you want to continue. So we say yes. This pops up. Say okay. There. Okay. Now this is not an Excel spreadsheet, but I'll show you what we can do with it. It says product table right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say add a new row. Just wait. There we are. And then I'm going to say, okay, all these parts, the ground, there's the ground. And it says true. True means that it's going to show up, show on the screen. Then the block, there you are. And then the cylinder. Where's the cylinder here? Right here. Good. Okay. And now parameters. Click on the parameters right here in this tree, in this menu on the right hand side. Okay. Now, let's say rename, change, filter it by rename. Let's put the length of the block first. Here it is. Notice that what's going to happen is that it put it right there, right there. Another one, rename, radius of the block, puts in that column. Another one, rename. It's easier to find it that way. Radius of the cylinder. There we are. Now, you can add additional rows here, add a new row, etc. But easier way is that to edit the Excel sheet. Okay. Now, by the way, if this edit cell is checked, that means you can go there and you change the number. But I don't want to do that for now. Let me uncheck that. Bring the Excel spreadsheet. There we are. So this is the Excel spreadsheet that we created. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy these. Okay. So there are 4 configurations. I will keep the ground, all of them true, which means I want to I want them to show up on my screen. But for example, for the 3rd configuration, I'm going to make this thing false. In other words, don't show me this. Don't show me the block, but show me the cylinder. Uh, where is the cylinder? Oh, right here. Show me the cylinder, but don't show me the block. And here I'm going to say, for example, let me see now, the second, well, yeah, okay, last row, uh, uh, show me the block, but don't show me the cylinder. Sorry, what I mean is false. Okay. And then you can change these things. For example, in the first configuration, I want the length of the block to be 1, side be 1, radius of the block to be 0.5, radius of the cylinder to be 0.5. So 0.25, 0.5. Second configuration, I want for example, the size of the block to be 0.5, okay, and for the radius of the block to be 0.1. It should be 0.1, and the radius of the cylinder also be 0.1. 0.1. Okay, good. Now, there is a problem here. This should be 0.1 inch. Otherwise, it's going to get really screwed up, and this should be inch, inch. Very good. Okay. Yep. Now, save it, close it. There we are. So let's see what's going on here. We move this thing on the side. First of all, because the ground is always true in this configuration, it always shows up. Here, block is going to show, and the cylinder is going to show, and these are going to be the dimensions. So what you do is you select that first row, and then update. Maybe you have to apply now, and update. Try another row. Apply now, update. Oh, you know what happened? Nothing is going to change. That's because I did not actually relate those parameters to these dimensions. So we say, okay, I forgot. It happens. So let's go back to f of x. Let's go back to f of x. Okay. Rename parameters. Uh, Actually, go back to f of x. Sorry. Click on the entire structure. So now I have to say, let's see now. This guy, add a formula equal to, let me do rename parameters. Let me see for a second. Let's go back here. So this guy is equal to, let me see now, it must be somewhere here. I'm surprised that it doesn't show. Let's check something here. Ah, there we are. Rename parameter, I clicked on that so that the names appear. So this dimension that I selected equal to length of the block. Say okay. Good, no problem. And this is going to be radius of the block. Add a formula. Rename parameter. If you don't get it, just click on the top level. That's going to be the radius of the block. Okay. And finally, this dimension, add a formula equal to rename parameter radius of the cylinder. Say okay, close. Okay. Now let me remind you what happened here. I forgot to create these relations, which actually tells you how these parameters are related to my model. Okay, so now let's go back to the product table. Okay, there we are. Can we go here? First row, apply, update. There we are. Second row, apply, update. There we are. You see that. Third row, the block should not show because it says false. Apply, update. Okay, no problem. Last row, the cylinder should not show up, the block should. There we are. Once again, if you go back to first row, apply, and update. Try again. Apply, update. There we are. Anyway, so you can see that product table, there are certain things that can be done that is either more cumbersome to do it in design table, or it's basically news. Now, by the way, the thing that I kind of screwed up here is that when I was trying to, after I did all the stuff, I forgot to create my equations, and the equations are done through those. See, these equations that I created, let's check that where they're actually done. You go to the block, if you look at the external relation, these are the parameters, and these are the equations. These are the equations. Let me show you what happens here, right there. In my equation, this was making the base dimensions the same. This was making one of the dimensions equal to L of the block, the other dimension equal to R of the block. And then the same thing for what is that guy? Yeah, for the cylinder. Okay, for the cylinder, that radius of the cylinder is equal to R cell. All right, I don't use product table that often, but it can be useful. There is as I said, there is a nice description of this product table, similar to what I have here, except that there are no uh, dimensions involved in this video segment from a few years back. All right, good luck.